To those of you who know me, you'll probably be surprised, maybe even shocked, that recently my thoughts have turned to trumpet playing, trumpets, and mouthpieces. I know, hard to imagine. Along with that, though, I've been thinking about how different companies market their trumpets, and I thought I'd talk a little bit about that today. And I grabbed a couple ITG journals as a point of departure, and let's see what we got in here. Okay, here right in the front, here's one by Yamaha. David Bilger depends on Yamaha. Nice little ad there. And let's see what else we got here. Oh, here's a Cannonball ad. Cannonball trumpets create your musical art. Another nice ad. And let's see what else we got. Oh, here's a Schilke ad. Superior quality, stunning designs, the Schilke way. And here's one of my favorite ones right here for obvious reasons. Stomvy ad from a few years ago. So if you think about how companies market, advertise their trumpets, it's really all the same way. It's really, everyone says the same thing. Our trumpet is the best. You should get it. Okay. I guess most advertising's that way. So if Bach says their trumpet's the best, and Yamaha says theirs is the best, and Schilke says theirs is the best, and Stomvy says theirs is the best, whose is really the best? Who's right? Well, after 40-some years doing this, I'm going to tell you that we're all right. And what I mean by that is the best trumpet for you is the one that works for you, the one that gives you your voice, the one that gives you the sound that you're looking for, that gives you the playability that you're looking for. And that can sometimes be a little bit difficult to figure out. However, it's not necessarily the trumpet played by famous guy A or famous guy B. It's not necessarily a trumpet that a professor tells you should get. It's not necessarily the trumpet that's the same as the guy sitting next to you in whatever bands you're playing in. It's the band that gives you your voice, that sounds the way you like, and again, that makes it the best and the easiest for you to play and have the most fun and make the most music. And that's one of the things I like very much about the Stomvy line is we start out with a very modern trumpet sound. All our instruments have that. Now, what do I mean by a modern trumpet sound? Well, we believe in a traditional trumpet sound, which to us is a big sound, full of colors, nice resonant, all that kind of stuff, all the colors of the orchestra. So let's say the high frequencies of the piccolos and the mids of the clarinets and the violas and the lows of the cellos, all those colors in the sound lead to a beautiful, gorgeous, resonant trumpet sound. And a modern version of that would have more colors in the sound, so more harmonically rich and also clearer. A number of instruments out there and vintage instruments sound terrific, but if you listen closely, they have like distortion. The attacks aren't really clear. And aside from making it harder to discern when you're changing from note to note in fast passages, if you're playing into a modern PA system, the modern PA system is going to not only amplify the gorgeous parts of your sound, but it's going to amplify the distortion in the sound as well. So having clarity is very important to not only discern the different notes, but to have your sound project and sound good if you're in the recording studio or in a live situation with microphones, etc. So starting with a very big, full modern sound, which all our instruments have, we have a whole bunch of different instruments that give you sort of different personalities, different vibes, different feels, depending on what you're looking for. And I'll talk about some of the B flats today that come to mind. See, the first one that comes to mind is actually our Mambo, which is an extra large bore horn. But because of the way it's designed, even though it's extra large bore, it's actually very easy to play. And the extra large bore actually gives you a little bit of damping, little science there that actually can make it easier to play. This is a great horn if you're coming from like a Claude Gordon Selmer, Claude Gordon Benge. You're going to transition really well. It's going to have a big, full modern sound and feel similar to the Selmer, for example, but usually be easier to play. Also used by a lot of salsa players and mariachis because it's got that kind of a sound. It's kind of skewed towards the mid and the high frequencies, but it's still got lows in it, and that's what makes it full and pleasing. If a trumpet doesn't have all the colors, you can't turn up some versus the others. If it's got all the colors in the sound, you can use either your technique or the front end, change the mouthpiece on the front end to accentuate some frequencies over others. If you want a little bit brighter sound, you put a commercial mouthpiece on there, and it's like you turned up the treble, but you've still got lows and mids supplying the fullness. If you want more of a classical / darker sound, you use your technique and or a different, more classical style mouthpiece to either turn down the highs or accentuate the mids and the lows, but you still have some high frequencies there for clarity. It's not like some instruments that people say sound dark actually sound dull. They're lacking that clarity, and you want to have that clarity whether it's a dark sound or a brighter sound. Another one of our instruments, let's say you're coming from a Bach. You really like how a Bach feels, but the Bach you have is getting old. You've had it out there, played a lot of notes. Maybe you bought it used. Maybe you can't find one that really feels like the one you got. A good horn of ours is the Elite 250. Bach players feel that the Elite 250 is very similar to a Bach in how it feels, but typically is a lot louder and so easier to play and gives you more of that modern sound with clarity, and it's going to be new. It's not going to be worn out like the vintage horns you find on eBay or somewhere else. And speaking of easier to play, we actually market that our horns are simply easier to play. So what do I mean by that? Well, for some lucky people, it means they can play higher on one of our horns. Maybe they gain a note. Maybe they're really lucky they gain a minor third. But in general, the easier to play means that whatever proficiency you have, whatever your range is, etc., it stays the same initially, but it's just easier to play. So you have to put less effort to get the same amount of sound out, or if you put the same amount of effort in, you get more sound. So let's say you're one of those players that you switch to one of our horns, and now let's say high D is your top note, D above high C. Now the high D is easier to play than it was on your old instrument. So it allows you, when you're practicing and trying to extend your range, to play that high D, and you're not just all killing yourself to play it. You're playing it more relaxed, and that allows you to figure out, okay, how do I get the E flat or the E or the F? Or if your top note's a high G, how do I get the A flat or the A? And all along, if you're using less effort to get the same amount of sound, your endurance goes up. So what does that mean? Well, you can play longer gigs, but it also means you can practice longer without getting tired. Some of our other horns that come to mind are S3 and VR2. I group them together because they're liked by the same type of players, these generally commercial players. The VR2 has a little bit different feel, comes with two different tuning slides and a hex cap, which changes. You can change the resistance settings on the horn to dial it in how it feels for you. And you got to kind of try them to see which one you like the best. When we get into our Titan line of instruments, boy, do we got a lot of options there. The Titan line has everything from, piccolos through B-flats, Cs, cornets, flugelhorns. We got a corno di caccia in the Titan line, and we have our 4-valve editions. Our 4-valve instruments are very interesting because they allow us to give you even more harmonics, more colors in the sound, and even bigger sound with more colors, easier to play. They give you a lot of other benefits as far as alternate fingerings, and what used to be the pedal notes are now low notes and very low notes, very usable notes. And I'll put some links below to some of these different things. You can check them out if you like. So if you're interested in a Stomby, you might think, wow, but there's so many. KO just mentioned a few, and I went to their website, and there's more, and there's C trumpets and DE flats and flugelhorns and piccolos and cornets and lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, how do I know which one to choose? Well, that's what we're here for. We love talking trumpet. If you're interested in trying one of our horns, we are all trumpet players, so we get it. We have a trial policy. Shoot us an email. Give us a phone call. Phone calls are actually the most fun for us. Get to meet new people and talk trumpet. And we'll help you figure out which horn would be the best for you to give an audition to in your situation. And if you end up liking one of our horns, one of the bonuses nowadays is many of the other companies have had to raise their prices a lot for reasons we all know about. And so far, we've been able to keep our prices level, and we're going to keep them level as long as we can. And so if you end up liking one of our horns, you probably end up having an extra couple $100 or maybe $1,000 or $1,200 in your pocket, depending on what you were comparing our instrument to. So again, Stanvi Trumpets, I like them a lot. If you're interested, send us an email, give us a yell. Have a nice day.